Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you guys. I am presenting the brand new 2025 Framus Hootenanny acoustic 12-string guitar. It is finally back after almost 50 years out of production. They've finally reissued this, which is really exciting for us Beatles fans who most of us have never gotten to try a Framus Hootenanny. The vintage ones are very hard to come by and very, very expensive on the used market. So I think it's a great idea that Framus has given us this opportunity to finally play this guitar that was used on some of my favorite Beatles recordings, like Help, I've Just Seen a Face, Norwegian Wood, and a lot of others. So we've got a lot to dive into. Let's get right into it, guys. So the Framus company was founded in 1946 in Germany. It stood for Franconian Musical Instruments, and they made a lot of great acoustic guitars, electric guitars, basses. A lot of the great 1960s British musicians used a 12-string Framus acoustic guitar, not just the Hootenanny, but the Texan and the Camping King. Donovan is seen using one early on. David Bowie and Ray Davies are some of the greats that used Framus acoustic guitars. Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones used one of their basses for a lot of the best Rolling Stones early recordings. So before I get into the Beatles' usage of the Hootenanny, there's actually another Beatle who used a Framus acoustic guitar before John got one of these. Paul McCartney. His very first acoustic guitar was a Zenith archtop Framus. And you can hear him playing that on In Spite of All the Danger, Cayenne, a lot of those really great early 60s Beatles recordings. So that was Paul's very first guitar. So before we get into the Beatles' use of the Hootenanny, I wanted to mention a song from 1964. During the Beatles' For Sale sessions, they recorded I'm a Loser. And you can hear in early outtakes, John is playing a 6-string guitar, his J160 acoustic, but at some point he might have snapped a string or something, because we hear in the later takes he's playing an acoustic 12-string guitar. And you should go check out our Gear There and Everywhere podcast with Perry Stanley that we did on the Framus Hootenanny, because Perry has some very important information about this stuff. He discovered through the pictures of John's Hootenanny that the serial number was dated to December 1964. And if this is true, it means that I'm a Loser must have had a different acoustic 12-string guitar, because it was recorded, I believe, in August, a few months before the Hootenanny would have even been made. So go check that episode out. We go into great detail all about the Hootenanny. So that brings us to 1965, the Help sessions. John acquired one of these 05/024 12-string models by Framus in a natural finish. And he's seen using it, obviously, in the movie Help during You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. And he used it on the actual song, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, recorded in the spring of '65. He also used the 12-string on the song Help. He also used it on It's Only Love. final song on Help that the Hootenanny was used on is I've Just Seen a Face, played actually by George. So John and George would swap this guitar. So that brings us to Rubber Soul. The song that we know for sure the Hootenanny was used on is Norwegian Wood. George played sitar on the song, but he also played the Hootenanny with a capo on the 2nd fret, doing some interesting picking stuff. So there are other songs on Rubber Soul that we should consider for the 12-string, but personally I believe Norwegian Wood is the only one it made it onto. But some people believe that in Girl, the lead guitar lines are the Hootenanny. But I believe that it was probably 2 J160 6-string acoustic guitars doubled, because you hear some discrepancy in the playing. It's not just a one guitar doing the doubled strings sort of thing. Similarly, Michelle is another song that it's possible the 12-string made it on. George is seen in the Michelle sessions in 1965 playing the Hootenanny with a capo on the 5th fret, but we don't know for sure if it made it on to the song, and you can't really hear a 12-string acoustic guitar. So after Rubber Soul, John actually gave his Hootenanny away to Gordon Waller of Peter and Gordon. Gordon is not really seen playing this guitar, and he gave it eventually to his road managers. And the guitar was just kind of stashed away in an attic for 50 years or more. We don't see the Hootenanny until literally last year. 2024, the Hootenanny came back into the public sphere. It was found in an attic in the UK, and Ringo did a hokey photo shoot with the old Hootenanny, which is really fun. So that brings us to the new Framus. So I wanted to get into some of the specs of this new Hootenanny. As I said, it's the 05/024 12-string model, and they are reissuing other models as well, a 6-string 05, 02, 04, and some other models. They're also offering these guitars in different finishes. I chose the vintage tinted Nitro finish because it's accurate to the vintage look, the Nitro cellulose lacquer. And when I opened the case, I was just really blown away by the flame top on this guitar. The grain of the wood is just absolutely gorgeous. And it's a Sitka spruce top. The Trapeze Tailpiece is also vintage accurate to John's, as is the bridge. And the pickguard is interesting. It didn't come with the pickguard attached to the guitar because they give you 2 options, this black pickguard or the Tortoise Pickguard. So John's was a pretty dark Tortoise pickguard. I went with the Tortoise because it's more Beatle accurate, but the black pickguard is just a really nice looking option. It's cool that they give you this option. I kind of prefer the black look, other than the fact that I wanted a Beatle spec pickguard. I just think the black looks really cool. So just be careful when you're putting on the pickguard itself. You have to be, careful with the placement. That's final. So it has mahogany back and sides and a rosewood fingerboard. And the nut width is interesting. It's got a very wide nut width because essentially this is a classical guitar, but 12-string. You even have the kind of flamenco, very flat radius of a Spanish guitar. It plays a lot like a classical guitar, although it's not strung with nylon strings. But it does have a very warm sound. I'm going to be doing a shootout later against my Gibson B2512 model from 1967, and you'll hear that the Hootenanny is very warm. It has a lot of low mids. Some people even describe it as muddy, and you can hear that on a lot of the Beatle recordings. It's just got a very vintagey, warm sound, which I really love. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys go check out the Framus website and consider buying one of these, because, you know, after 50 years of people not really being able to help with the right guitar, I think it's so cool that, you know, we have this opportunity now. It's a great thing that Framus have done. I hope that Framus in the future will consider reissuing more of their classic models, like the Texan or the Zenith, or maybe even the bass that Bill Wyman played. I think a lot of us 60s enthusiasts would just love to see more of these models that are hard to come by. So I'm going to leave you with the shootout of my Gibson. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe.